My name is Joe Thomas.
My name is Russ Thomas. We're responsible for the train room here at the museum. There's a very extensive rail history here in Effingham County. The Illinois Central, which was the longest railroad in the world at one time, came right through here in Effingham City. We wanted to replicate that here in the train room at the museum. We have both the Illinois Central Railroad and the Pennsylvania Railroad depicted here.
My name is Dean Manuel. I retired from education from Central Grade School here in Unit 40. I was in education about 35 years. I remember a lot of my father talking about trains and train travel. I never participated in any travel by train until actually after we were married. But because of Effingham being a very important hub of rail traffic in our area, trains were always around us.
The railroad layout here in the train room, not only does it depict the railroad history for Effingham, but it depicts the history of the county from the very beginning.
When Amtrak was formed in '71, Effingham, Illinois was the only city outside of like a Chicago or New York or Washington, D.C. that had north-south and east-west service.
There is a scene of Griffin Tipsword meeting the Kickapoo Indians for the first time, which Russ fabricated, and scenes throughout the layout will show different time periods in Effingham history.
There was a lot of trains that you could go from one town to the other. Let's say 1918, you could go from Effingham to Altamont. Was in 1917. They had over 2,000 people attend a afternoon festivities and services here in Effingham, and it listed that the Wabash Railroad and two others brought 450 some people from Shumway, Beecher City, Stewartson, Strasburg area, and that's how they traveled then.
When we first got the benchwork and the track laid, it was bare. There was nothing on this layout except track. We started buying just generic buildings. We'd go to model railroad swap meets and we'd buy up cheap buildings just to populate the area to give something, a little bit of depth and color to it. However, here lately though, we've been getting so many people sponsoring buildings that we are now removing some of the very original generic buildings and putting in their buildings.
Replacing them with the significant buildings.
Effingham wasn't really here, so to speak, because the county seat originally was at Ewington. When it was found out the rail lines were going to come through what was to become the city of Effingham, that's where people started moving to, and then eventually the county seat was moved there too. But it was in either the 1890s or early part of those years. The rail shops moved out of Effingham and went to Terre Haute, and as a result, almost a quarter to a third of the population of Effingham was reduced. The people had their employment by the railroads.
Usually the sponsor will ask if I'll sponsor something, and then I ask them to send me as many photos as you can from as many angles and colors appreciated. Added a lot of stuff that I found around the house, like the light bulbs on the Hart Theater or cookie sprinkles.
From a limited reading I read, there was quite a push that Effingham get a nice station, and because of just what you said, that it's a reflection on what your first thought of the community was. In fact, all the large cities, the train stations, were very elaborate in their own way because it was the gateway to the city.
I think it's one of the most popular rooms in the museum. I'm a little bit biased though, but we can see it, especially the kids when they come in the room. Their eyes get so big and they just thoroughly enjoy it. And even the kids that are about 80 years old, same reaction. They all love it.
Directly or indirectly, we're connected with the railroads that went through, whether it be agriculture, whether it be all the World War II, the Korean War Memorial, Vietnam. A lot of those troop trains, of course, came in and out of Effingham by rail. So the story of Effingham County is a direct link to the story of rail transportation in the state.
Most people, when they think of a model railroad, think of the train going around the Christmas tree. And what we have in here is just light years away from that. And it really blows a lot of the people away, and I really enjoy seeing the people enjoying what we've created here.